Yeah, frustrating position to be in at the moment.
Yeah, I think that's the word, frustrating. It's frustrating. Sometimes it spills over to more extreme emotions. But yeah, I mean, when you get beaten, I like to give the opposition credit where it's due, but nearly everything's green, other than the scoreboard, and they had a few more tackles than us. So there's a lot going on that seemed to be in our favour, creating enough opportunities but not capitalising. Just skill error and decision at times, and then we had them sort of under control or on the mat at different times, and they just got their scores too easily. So it's a frustrating afternoon, but credit to Fremantle, they won the game.
What's going to keep you awake the most there? Blitz in the second quarter, or the inability to maximise your advantage when they were injured and the ball was living in your forward half in the last quarter?
I think the ratio is about 50-50. We talked about what happened in that second quarter at half-time, and you often try and discover the why. Why did that happen? When, as I said, the scoreboard was pretty even at quarter time, but the bang for buck that they got from their entry is just too easy. I think they kicked 4 goals too from about 10 entries or something, and it's just way too much. And they were end-to-end transitions at times where we lost a one-on-one or free kick against us, and it went the whole way. So the anticipation side of the game, or what to expect from turnover defensively, because we were playing so quick. I think both teams were. It wasn't where it needed to be, and we couldn't recover. Couldn't get any delay on how quick the Sharon came out of our forward line. So, and then as you said, in the second quarter, there was a patch of that where it was uncharacteristic. Broken tackles, and the contest looked different, and they just played through us way too easily. So that'll play on our minds. And then we felt like we were coming, and then just not being able to finish the play, not being able to score from so many opportunities. It's a shame.
Was there much you tried in that fourth quarter to try and change things or get an advantage with their players off?
Yeah, we changed a little bit, and we thought that with Luke Jackson coming off, we thought we'd have a definite advantage in that. So we actually got some clearance through what we were doing to make the most of that advantage, especially in the first sort of 10 minutes, but we just didn't score from it. And then, the numbers game, late they had a number or two behind it, but they sort of held their 6 backs for a fair while, and it wasn't like we needed to put anyone forward. You would have seen Rory go forward late, our winger possibly sliding down just to make sure we had representation. They didn't intercept mark, and I don't necessarily think we'd let them play the way they wanted to play, but they got some cheapies. They kicked a lot of goals from how many entries they had just defensively today. It's a combination of us not getting it done, but also it was symptomatic of how we use the footy. They were able to really trampoline out of different situations because we blatantly gave it back to them or missed our chance.
And what did you make of Darcy tonight? It seemed to really set the tone, and his leadership seemed pretty strong.
Yeah, well, he was a real winner for us again, and I thought we got a bit too Sam conscious in the last quarter. I thought we kicked it to him a bit too much. We had different options, and why wouldn't you at times? But when that becomes too predictable, and we've got enough threats, I thought James and Aaron were fighting their way through it, and we probably a bit too predictable, but he was really strong and solid again for us, Sam. But I think if you look across the ground, even the Caleb Sarong thing, we did have a negative sort of tone towards him with our mids, one or two in particular, and I felt that they did that for a little while, but then he was in the end quite extremely influential in his position. So we lost a handle on that also as the game went on, which we've been prone to do actually. Unfortunately, we're a team that sometimes I thought we did it pretty well the previous week against Carlton. We kept one or two of their mids subdued, but today we didn't sustain it through the game, and so I don't think Andrew Brayshaw came into the game as it went on too. So they became two important players for them as the game wore down.
And with Norton, what can you do to get him more involved in the game?
Yeah, look, it's a good question. We're working through it with him. Aaron generally, he had a bit of an interrupted pre-season, and as he plays more and more game time, he'll continue to scale up and the impression that he has on the game. He had his moments today, and one or two he capitalised on, but he'll continue to improve. But yeah, look, as I said, we had a lot of front half opportunity. It's just I think every player today will walk away and think, I can just get that fraction more out of myself. So that's what we'll take into the game against Brisbane in Adelaide this week. Yeah, he had a clicking in his knee, and it started to affect his game. He couldn't reach his sort of top end speed, so we had to pull the trigger on the sub pretty early. He was incapacitated, so we'll get back to you on what that actually is once we know a bit more about it.
Rory Lobb, obviously he got quite a reception here. He was in for it all day, but he still managed to sort of deliver for you.
Yeah.
That move to defence has really changed his career, I guess. How are you seeing how he's playing?
Yeah, he's a really important, pivotal player in our back line, and he's become that pretty quickly in the new position. And as you know, he's played some pretty good footy as a key forward over the journey, and in particular with Fremantle in his time here. So, but now, even in times where you're thinking, who do we swing forward, you're reluctant to send him forward because he's such an important player in the intercept game and providing security to our back end. So it's a credit to him the way he's been able to work through that and establish himself as a pretty influential key defender.
The hairstyle, are you a fan of it? He's obviously somebody who welcomes the attention. I mean, there's not a lot of guys out there with a lobster in the back of their head.
Yeah, I'm kind of apathetic towards it, really. I mean, we all think differently, don't we, as human beings? And Rory, he doesn't mind the attention. He doesn't mind. He's obviously been able to back it up. He's playing some pretty good footy, so I'm just trying to stay out of his way.
What do you make of Liver's game today? He's had another 30, so his stats are almost career high to start. He's taking on a lot of that workload with Trelaw and Bontempelli out at the moment. But on the likes, he would have been part of that strategy to keep Sarong and Brayshaw quiet. So how do you... He's doing mountain work, isn't he?
Yeah, it's a bit soon to sort of give you an in-depth analysis on how our inside mids really performed. The qualitative aspect of the game, the efficiencies and the effectiveness of different things are absolutely crucial. But, he rarely gets tackles broken. He's obviously a really hard edge for us in there. And there's some new players, like, Joel Frazier and Ed Richards and Riley Sanders, some of the younger boys going through there. Matt Kennedy's obviously new to our club. So they've been working pretty well together as a bit of a different unit, those lads. Today, I think they did enough to give us a chance. They really did. But Tom's of a 6-star. I think the ground, is it's obviously a really dry day and a warmer day, and they were able to run on top of it. So hopefully Tom pulls up all right from this one, and I think at some stage maybe Libba might need a week or two off. We'll work out when that might be.
You mentioned Adelaide?
Sorry?
Are you going straight to Adelaide?
No, we'll go home and then we'll head over later in the week.
You mentioned earlier that players will walk away knowing they can get just a little bit more out of themselves. Is that to do with the type of game it was and how draining it looked?
I think it's just the quality aspect. I mean, you talk about direct and indirect opportunities in the game. Indirect, I mean, working with each other in team defence and patterns you might run offensively, and you might not be too close to the ball at times. But when you're directly involved, balls in your area, or it's your opportunity for source pressure or to spoil or something like that. It's just those moments I think that the boys will look back on and reflect and think, oh, I'd like one or two of those back. And they add up across the day. And I think, when we talk about volumes and the differentials in the statistics, they only tell you the facts, how often it happened. They don't tell you what actually happened. And it's the what that we need to get better at this week against the reigning premiers.
And who are you expecting them to get back next week?
I don't think there's a few lads who played who had been out. Anthony Scott played, Lockie Jarks played. We had one other. Who was that? We had three boys come back and play for Footscray who won. Cooper Hines kicked a goal just before the siren, so that's a good win. But I don't think there's anyone sort of who's coming back from injury this week. I don't think at either level. Sorry.
How far off is Bontempelli?
Oh, what we've said sort of publicly about his range is about right. He's not far away. So I can't give you anything more than he won't be a long time now. So hopefully over the next week or two. Thanks everyone.